Well, welcome everyone to the South Jordan Chambers podcast. Today, I am honored that I have Stacey Millhorn on, and she is with the Pure Sweat and Float Studio in South Jordan. And welcome to the show, and tell us a little bit about you, Stacey.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. We've enjoyed
You're
being a
welcome.
part of the South Jordan Chamber. So I am a Florida kid. My husband and I both actually raised 30 plus years in Florida. We did a little stint through Nashville and then ended up in Utah because of COVID. I was in the pharmaceutical industry for about 27 years. And we were all, talking heads at that point on iPads. So we decided to try someplace new. And Utah just, we'd been coming out here for a long time to ski and enjoy the mountains. So we chose Utah and fell in love with it, went home and sold our house and made the move.
Where in Florida were you at?
Primarily Central Florida. I'm a graduate of Florida State University and
Okay.
then started working in Miami. I was in Jacksonville, and my husband is still an estate planning attorney in the Villages. So he actually still commutes back and forth. So he gets a little taste of Florida every week.
And sometimes that's good, and sometimes it's really hot and bothering. So
That's what he says when he gets off the plane, and he's like, "It feels like a wall of humidity hits me." I'm like, "Oh, I'm so happy I'm in Utah."
yes, yes, yes. So, well, tell us a little bit about the studio and why you decided to put one in South Jordan.
Sure. So again, going through Nashville, I was introduced to infrared sauna there. I unfortunately suffer from a lot of chronic pain
Ooh,
and found information about not only detoxification, but the improvement utilizing infrared sauna for pain. And it did just that for me. I kept getting prescribed medication for sleep and anti-inflammatory and muscle, and that just didn't make me feel really any good, just kind of bleh. And utilizing the infrared sauna really was able to help me control the pain to a point of coming off of those medications. I was then introduced to floating, which at first I thought was so weird. Coming from Florida, I'm like, we're around a lot of water. You just want me to lay in this water? And they said, oh, yes, there's so many health benefits to it, improving reduction of cortisol, improvement in muscle recovery, as well as sleep. So I became a client in Nashville. And again, when we moved to Utah, I sought high and low for something that was like the Pure Sweat experience. And I couldn't find it. There were places that had saunas, but it didn't feel the same. There were places that had float, but also didn't feel the same. So I started my journey of opening Pure Sweat first in Park City. We live out in the Camas area. So selfishly, I wanted to share it with the community, but I also wanted it really close for me to utilize as well. That's been open about 13 months. And then my broker, real estate broker, we really were looking for another community health and wellness. And so we ended up in the district in South Jordan with all of our wellness neighbors in our little corner.
yes, there's quite a few of those right there. In fact, some of them are next building over from you, aren't they?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So, well, tell us a little bit more about your studio in South Jordan. You have six saunas in there, is it?
We have five
Five. Okay.
custom, yeah. So, and then the sixth room is the float. So you're
That's
very
right.
close.
Yes.
Yes. So five custom infrared saunas. So Candace, the founder, did a ton of research on the top quality equipment. And so Sunlighten is the industry leader on using multiple wavelengths of infrared. Infrared is a safe wavelength. They actually use infrared to heat NICU babies in the hospital. So it's safe to be in every single day. And Sunlighten uses far, mid, and near is what they call. So the farthest is penetrating your body, literally the farthest. So working on blood and organs. Mid is working on muscles and joints, and near is working on skin. So you're getting all three of those wavelengths while you sit in the sauna. There's also added chromotherapy. So there's light therapy. What we have learned is each color of light has a different frequency. So, in addition to the infrared being healing, the color of the light that you select is also adding some type of healing to you. In our saunas, we also give clients the option to use little hand weights and resistance bands, as well as muscle rollers and lacrosse balls. So if you want to come and make it a private workout, you have the option to do that. If you want to do for recovery, we've got a lot of people doing, golfing, and they're hiking and biking and all these activities. Pickleball has been,
Oh
huge. They
yeah.
come in after pickleball and recover. Alternatively, you can just lay in there and take a nap because we've been told it feels like being on vacation.
So how long of a time do you use it for?
Our appointments are 45 minutes. So we have a timer in there so you don't have to worry about it. We get you all set. We start the timer and then you're on your way. Afterwards, we give you a nice chilled peppermint oil towel. So we want, because you're being heated at a cellular level with infrared versus the traditional sauna heats the air around you, we want you to not shower right after because your body's still using all of that really good energy it created.
One of the things that I noticed as I was there is you don't use the same temperatures that the others do. Tell us about why.
Absolutely. So again, that's really people are used to that traditional sauna. So like a health spa or a hotel, they're 200 plus degrees. You open the door, feels like your breath is taken away, and it can be very difficult to stay in there for the recommended 10 minutes. Again, the infrared, they're heating you at the cellular level, so you don't need it as hot. The ideal temperature is somewhere between 113 to 122 degrees. We keep ours at 150 because people really do love getting a sweat. They do go up to 170, so we're very customizable to our clients. So if somebody wants a higher temperature, we can make that happen. In the summer, we've had some people request, hey, you know what? I want the infrared benefits, but I wouldn't mind if the temperature was a little bit lower. So you'll find some people don't really start sweating until about 15 minutes into that appointment. And that's perfectly normal. It's not the same, just dripping, trying to catch your breath.
Well, that's good. Now let's talk about this float studio you have.
Yes. So the float is spectacular. Again, I was introduced to floating and thought, gosh, this is really weird. What am I supposed to do in here? So our suite is different than a pod. Most people that have heard of floating, they get nervous because it looks like an egg. So it looks like a large something you lay in and you pull the top down on yourself. The first time I floated, I was in a pod and I was terrified to close the lid because I didn't know how heavy it was or if I would be able to open it. I then floated in a suite, which is such a beautiful experience. There's stars on the ceiling, there's light and nice instrumental soundtracks under the water, but you can also customize all of that in the float suite. So there's buttons inside to make you control it. So some people go into something called sensory deprivation. So they turn everything off. I love floating with the stars on the ceiling. I turn the light under the water off. And instead of feeling enclosed, it actually starts to feel bigger. So the lights reflect off the wall. We did get a deluxe float, so it's large enough for two people. So we've had a lot of date nights, or parents and kids actually have started to really come, which so cool being a 8 or 10 year old and your parents are introducing you to this kind of wellness. The float itself contains 1,500 pounds. Thank you to my husband of medical grade Epsom salt, which is magnesium sulfate. And what we found in our culture is that the majority of adults are actually deficient in magnesium. So your skin is your largest organ. So your body's just drinking in that magnesium while you're in there. And that is what really contributes to the improved sleep, the muscle recovery, as well as reduced cortisol levels. And then our government, our military bases use Superior Float Tanks, who we use to assist with PTSD. So we've had athletes seek us out because of concussion. So there's a lot of good things going on in there, and all you have to do is lay there.
It's not well, it's a room rather than
It is
just
a
an
room.
enclosure like you were describing. And
That's right.
it's big enough for two or three people sometimes. So
We've only put two people in there. I bet if you were a parent and had two small children, you could probably put them in there. But I actually had a gentleman here at the South Jordan studio a few days ago, and he's 6'3", and he was very happy to be in there because he still felt like he had space to move around versus feeling confined.
yes, and that's really cool. Now, of course, with that, you do a shower before and a shower after, right?
That's correct. So we have organic products in the studio. We provide everything. So really, when someone comes into the studio, we want them to feel taken care of. They are spending their time away from something else, whether that's family, friends, etc. So when they walk in, we have towels, we have earplugs, we have all the products. In fact, we even have a dry bar in the back where we have local skincare that's all healthy, no parabens or things in it. And then we have a hair dryer and whatnot. So if you need to primp afterwards, we've got it all for you.
Well, that's really cool. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit more about the location. You said you're right next to a lot of the other healthy type locations. Tell us where you are in the district, because district's pretty good size now.
The district is big, yeah, and we're getting a new neighbor actually. So
Oh,
we are in the same row. The eye doctor is next to us, and then just a couple doors down, we have Prime IV, and we've had a lot of clients that like coming in, doing a sauna, and then getting an IV. The Joint Chiropractic is right here. Orange Theory. We also have Suvita Yoga. So it's just kind of a health and wellness corner. So if you make the turn to the unhealthy Jack in the Box, the new Jack in the Box on 114th. Drive past that and you'll find your little wellness row.
well, that's cool. So it's on the north end of the district, and you don't drive into the parking lot for the places. You drive on the next road that you can go across, and that's it right there.
That's
Well,
right.
good.
Yeah,
Well,
close to Bangater.
you have a special for anybody who's listening today.
We do, yeah. So we've got intro packs. We know that infrared sauna might be new to people. Floating most likely is new to people. So we offer intro packages, and that's 3 saunas, either as a single user. We also have duo or deluxe services, and that's 2 people using our services at the same time. So we have those set up for both our infrared sauna and our floats. Our single session is typically $60, but these intro packs get your saunas down to about $33, $32 a session. And then beyond that, we have memberships and packages, which are even more discounted. But we find this way people can try the studio, find out if they like the services before they make a big commitment.
That's awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us how we can get a hold of you and your exact address, please.
Yeah, so our address is 11506 District Drive, and we're Suite 300. And our phone number is 801-834-3555. I always recommend people pop in the studio, get a tour, or call. My team is lovely and will take very good care of you. You can also find us on Instagram, which is at Pure, Pure, Sweat South Jordan, and that's the same for Park City. And then we're on Facebook under the same name. Our website, you can always go to Pure Sweat and Float Studios and find locations across the country. And like you said, we have 2 here in Utah.
That is awesome. Well,
Yes.
Stacey, thank you for being a member of the chamber, but also
Yes,
thank you for being on with us today so that we can tell people more about something that's here that's unusual and really something they need to know about.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We'll talk again.
All right.